To be honest, there are actually a lot of different things that we could talk about in regard to the specific topic. But the reality is that right now, the Caribbean is going through a change that North America and to some extent parts of Europe would have gone through 4 to 5 years ago. So that specific change is looking at ways to get our users content faster in a more in a better and more efficient manner, and with minimal downtime or with minimal effort on the part of the organization itself. Now, from that, it spawns a lot of different challenges when it comes on to maybe the resources, the skill sets, and so on. But the real challenge is that organizations are trying to adapt methods and techniques that other larger scale companies have used in North America or Europe, but it's not a direct match to the Caribbean context. And because of that, it spawns a lot of challenges where, corners might be cut or other situations like that. So that is why it's important to understand that when you're looking to adopt certain principles and practices related to quality assurance in your organization, it's not just about looking at it and following everything to the T. You have to tailor it to fit your particular use case and your particular context. And I believe that's what a lot of the Caribbean organizations now are looking into doing after understanding that it's not a direct mapping from what their North American and European counterparts would have done. So I would say it's important because the implications of not having them, it's too high. It's too much of a risk from an organizational standpoint, because you could talk about reputation, loss of money, and other things that could go wrong because you don't have these standards in place. We all have heard many stories of organizations in the past not having proper practices in place or cutting corners to get things out faster, and what that has left the organization with in terms of a bad name or maybe a loss of money, of a substantial amount of money, I should say. So it's very important that these standards relating to quality insurance are in place and are being actively enforced within the organizations. You have to be able to constantly be looking at your organization to see what things can you improve from the quality assurance standpoint. Especially now, given the pandemic that the world is facing, a lot of things related to the way we work has changed. And that in of itself has affected how we deliver solutions to clients. So because of that, we have to take the steps necessary to create practices within the organization that will be able to adapt to the current climate or what is going on right now. So for example, maybe before the pandemic, the organization focused a lot on doing manual testing, and you had to have people physically in a particular space testing out on devices and so on. But now you probably would look into what other remote options exist to facilitate that type of testing. The other side of this as well is when you look into these different options and you try to integrate it into your organization, you have to be wary of what that cost factor might look like, because it's so easy for that cost to balloon out of control. So it's important as well to keep that cost down without mitigating or without taking away from the quality that you might get from the practices that you have at hand. And the other point I would also add to this is it's a lot about empowerment of a team and letting a team understand that they have it within them to do what is expected of them, and giving them the environment plus the tooling to make that possible. That is a very good question, actually. So because digital transformation is focused a lot on the users and what they're interacting with and what they're doing, innately software quality assurance is a big part of that, because any solution that you provide has to fit the use case that the end user will be leveraging the solution for. If it isn't, or if it isn't up to standard, it's going to be a very poor experience, and that in of itself will not lend well to a digital transformation effort. So it's very important to focus on ensuring that the end user gets what they want or gets what they expect. And that is one of the key parts, I believe, to digital transformation. It's not just about looking at the process and then transforming around that. You have to also look at the people, the person who will eventually end up utilizing the system or a solution that you're providing. If they're not pleased with it in any way, shape, or form, you're essentially doing digital transformation in reverse. To be honest, I could reel off a lot of different tools right now and, give you the names and, tell you which ones are free versus which ones are paid. But the real truth is that every organization is different, and every organization might need a different tool based on the industry that they're a part of or the use case that they're looking to fill. So because of that, unfortunately, I can't say that there's a, one tool to solve it all or one silver bullet that everyone could use. But what I can say is that it's important for organizations to realize that when it comes down to tooling, you have to look at the use case that you are trying to fill and see if that tool that you're looking at will fill it. But that doesn't mean that if that one tool doesn't do it, you can't add other tools in. So you have to look at the possibility that it might be one or more tools that you have to combine together to get the end solution that you're looking for from a process perspective. So if you're looking for a gentle introduction into how software quality assurance works, what's user acceptance testing, how do you do it, and just understanding in general some of the nuances about it, this is the training course for you. The team here at RealDecoy took the time to curate the content for the session, and it's all based off of real world experiences that we have all had, and because of that, it's a lot of value coming out of this. And I expect that persons who are part of this session will come out of it with a newfound understanding for quality assurance in general, but also have a better understanding of how they can leverage some of the techniques shown in the training in their own organization when it comes on to doing user acceptance testing and doing final validation of software products that they're interacting with or working on themselves.